Hello and welcome. We've got a cyclocross season going on. That's why we're gonna be talking more and more about a cyclocross bikes and sport on our Cannondany channel, so welcome in this video. This is a Merida Cyclo Cross 500 and we're gonna have some in-depth review today. But this will be a long-term in-depth test because I bought this bike in order to prepare myself for a cyclocross championships in Poland, which will be in 10th of January. So this is November now. I'm gonna prepare myself for those races, this race in January, and this is the bike I'm gonna use it for. So Merida 500 is, in my opinion, a very well thought out design. Let's start with a frame. This bike would cost in Europe about 1100 euros. We've got in an aluminum frame with a full carbon forks, carbon blades, carbon steering tube. The alloy is 6066 aluminum, and we've got some very smart designs in here. Let's start with the back. Merida say on their website that this is a flex stays. Both the chain stay and the seat stays have all those shaping in order to absorb vibrations, but I'm gonna repeat, this is in order to absorb a small vibration, not to absorb some bumps. There is no like travel on this frame, all right? But as we can see, the shaping of the tubes and also the hydroforming, I mean, of the tubes, and also the shaping of the frame will give us some more comfort during, you know, some rides on the gravel and just anywhere we're going to use this bike, also for cyclocross races. And here these chain stays, those have shaping here in order to have a strong connection to the bottom bracket, and here more to the back we've got another type of shaping. It's flatter here, so that those stays would also absorb some vibrations. So this is fine. So the top tube has also been hydroformed. It's flat in this direction so that we can carry the bike, and what makes it even more comfortable is all that bending on the top tube. So I'm very happy with that. And now a very tiny little thing, not many people would actually notice it, but I do, and I want to tell you this is very smart and something I would really say bravo Merida. This is the joint of the top tube with the seat tube. Because as you can see, the tube is very flat, and it will be comfortable to carry the bike. This is a cyclocross frame, so we're gonna be jumping off and on the bike very often, and that means that the weight of our body will just hit the saddle and bend the seat post. That's why we've got this very smart hydroforming of the top tube, so that the joint of the top tube with the seat tube will be stronger, will be larger and more robust. Very good. And also, and when we look at the seat clamp, it's also quite large, so this will actually help our seat post, both seat posts and the seat tube, to absorb all that, you know, weight that we're gonna put on our saddle very suddenly when we jump on the bike. So this is very well done. Another thing here that has also changed comparing to the 2014 model. This is 2015, right? This is not 2016. We've got the Merida call it X-type tapered head tube. It's nothing new, but it's very helpful, and I'm happy that we've got it here in this bike. So this is 1.8 inch bearing on the upper bearing, and the lower one is 1.5 inch. That means the strength of our head tube, it's much more robust. It's much more stiff, so that we can really feel the bike and handle it even better. And then we have very robust, as you can see, full carbon fork, which I really love. As I said, the steering tube is also made of carbon, so a whole design is very robust, and I'm pretty much sure this will handle some very tough roads. great thing, and I'm happy that Merida did it in this cyclocross model, is the through axle. So we've got a very stiff and very strong connection between the wheel, the front wheel, and our fork. It's a 15mm axle, and that means again much more stiffness for us, much better feel of the front wheel, and also less problems between our disc brake and the disc, because the position between the disc brake and the disc will never change, because we've got this very strong and oversized, we can say, through axle. So that's great. Now this bike has some Alex rims with no name hops for the bike for 1100 euros. Yeah, this might be, I don't know what, but it doesn't say anything on the hubs actually. But in this price range we would not actually expect to get some super duper wheels. These have 32 spokes, so these will be strong enough to handle cyclocrossing. The components are, of course, the Shimano 105 5800 shifters with same level front and rear derailleur, and then our FSA Gossamer crankset. It's the same set as in our Cannondale Cat 10 bike, but here Merida didn't use the 105 chain. We've got the FSA one here. Another thing I'm gonna show you is the cable routing. We've got the internal cable routing of all the cables, which means that derailleur cables and the brake cable, all that goes into this main tube, and that means that when we carry the bike we will not scratch the frame, very important. And also Merida say on their website that this is also in order to keep our cables clean. Well, I'm gonna argue with that in a minute, but first thing is plus with something very good, because as you can see those cables have their routing coming in here. It's like 6 centimeters or like 3 inches from the head tube, not on the head tube, not close to the head tube, and that means longer wire here, and in my opinion it's the best design. When we look at the Cannondale here, for example, this is very short. This is there is a lot of rubbing between the wire and the frame, and also here when the wire comes in straight into the head tube, it's breaking. So this one is just great, and there is actually no rubbing between the wires and the frame, so there is no stickers necessary here. Very good, so I'm very pleased with that. And also when we are using those additional brakes here for the upper position of our hands, as you can see, the wires, they move a lot in this system, but they don't touch the frame. And this is great, but then does it really help to keep our cables clean? No. Why? All those cables are routed here and go down inside the main tube, and they go out here. This is the brake wire. It will go to the brake. I will show you that in a minute, but these are our derailleur cables. So this is the rear derailleur and the front derailleur. And this is a mess in my opinion, because the cables come out of the frame of the tube, and they are here routed in some small, it's like plastic or Teflon or something, small little tube, and it's just open. There is actually no sealing whatsoever. So when the dust, when the mud that we are actually going through during our cyclocross races will come into these little tubes, we are done. Our shifting is done, and I just don't understand why Merida did this, because up to here it's all just fine, but here it's a mess, and this is the place that is getting the most of the mud, not here, not up here. As you can see, just before the last section of our wiring, there is some sealing here, so there will be no no dirt coming into the wire here, but there is no sealing here. So I think this is the weakest point of our shifting system. We've got the 105 cassette, 11 28 teeth. Some would rather like to have 12 28. I would like to have 12 28. And in the front, in our Gossamer chain set, we've got 36 46 chain rings. So this is not a road bike, this is a cyclocross, and for some people some fitness or commuter bike. So this is I think that's the best option. So we are on the other side of our bike. I can show you all the displays, and once again the cable routing for the front brake is just awesome. There is absolutely no rubbing against the frame or the fork actually here, and it looks fine. It looks just great in my opinion. Now we've got some Tektro mechanical brakes. This is a Spire C model. Some would say that in the bike for 1100 euros we should have some hydraulic brakes here. I would expect to have hydraulic brakes if this was a mountain bike for 1100 euros, but for road bike and cyclocross bikes this is just enough, because when we look at the for example Cannondale Cadex cyclocross with aluminum frame, or a Trek cyclocross bikes with aluminum frame, they will be more expensive and will also have the mechanical brakes. They seem to be a little bit soft, but we have much better modulation than on the regular road brakes. And we're gonna be testing it during our training and racing, so I'm gonna tell you if they are strong enough. All in all, this design is really great. The hydroforming of the frame that will absorb some vibrations, a stronger connection between the top tube and the seat tube, our X-type tapered head tube, and very robust full carbon fork. That's something I'm very happy with. But then the cables down here are just open for any mud and dirt, and this is something I'm not very pleased with. And also this hole here will take some mud, I think. Also the connection between the bottom bracket and the frame is a little bit weaker here, because as you can see the weld is not full here. There is some 2 inches of this hole, and there is no weld here between the bottom bracket and the main tube. I'm not sure whether it's so good for our bicycle. Then the disc brake in the back is also our Tektro Spire C, but Merida say that now mounting of our brake here, of the caliper here, is much better, because we have much better support on the chainstay rather than a seat stay, and it seems very reasonable to do it like this, so I'm happy with this. And now just one little thing I would like to show you that I'm really thinking about in this frame, because this design looks quite good, almost perfect I would say, but then here I'm not sure about these holes in the frame. Of course all the tubing is hollow in the frame, but why did Merida like open up this space and make this hole, and it's on both sides, same right and left side. On the left side it's even longer, it's much longer, it's like twice as long as this one here. So I have seen many frames like this one, and they would sometimes break in this place, so it could be the weakest point of the frame, but I don't know, maybe it's strong enough. It's just something that I've noticed when looking at this frame. It doesn't seem to be very smart to make this kind of tubing, but I don't know, maybe it is strong. I just wanted to show you this. All in all, this Merida frame is a great design, and this is probably the last time you see this bike clean. If you've got more questions, just let me know. If you wanted to know more about this bike, if I should look at something more I will definitely do it. I will be happy to answer your questions. And now I'm gonna sit on my turbo trainer and do some training for cyclocross racing. Thanks for watching this video and see you soon. Bye.